it gives you access to the US financial system without having even to have a visa to be here. With an LLC, you can open a US bank account, you can have access to a payment gateway like Stripe, for example, and you're connected to the world. You can sell to the world from your house. Number two, the tax benefits that you get. If you don't live here or have any employees or physical presence, everything you make through your LLC is tax free. So you do have to report it, but you don't pay taxes. And in most countries where like your taxation can be 40, 45, Spain can be like 51, 53%, saving money in taxes does really, really impact your company. A lot of people don't think of the taxes because you have to pay them like at the end of the year. But if you, like I have customers that used to pay 2, 3K a month in taxes, now they pay zero. That's a huge difference of money for them and to reinvest in the company. So tax is another thing. And the third one, I would say, is also the reputation it gives you. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, if you go home saying, like, I have a company in the US, like, people, it's like you're like the Messiah. People are like, you're walking on water. If I went to visit people like, hey, I have a company in Panama, we're in Panama, I was like you are like laundering money for sure. That people have these preconceptions of places. Like I met this guy that said like, I have a crypto license in Bulgaria. I'm like, that doesn't mean shit, man. Like my New York license is better than your crypto license in Bulgaria. Like you have to play the game and you have to know that people will judge. But I couldn't have built what I built if it wasn't an LLC. I couldn't have access to proper banking, financial systems, to payment, to really automated processes if it wasn't through an LLC. So like I know that it's just it's three letters that are so powerful in today's world because it really opens like an entire ecosystem without you having to move from your bedroom.
You're listening to Foreign Founders. We tell stories of immigrant and first-gen entrepreneurs, investors, operators, and ecosystem builders. And on the show, you hear incredible stories that often go untold.
Nestor Castillero is the founder of Maera, a platform that helps global entrepreneurs launch and grow U.S. businesses with LLC formation, bank accounts, tax support, and more, all from anywhere in the world. Originally from Panama, Nestor started Maera with just $51 and grew it into a seven-figure company based in New York. A two-time Ironman 70.3 finisher, he's driven by a mission to simplify business creation and empower people to achieve financial freedom and flexibility through entrepreneurship. Welcome to the show, Nestor.
Thank you, Andy. Happy to be here.
Amazing. Great to have you here. We've known each other for a little bit, but I would love for the listeners to learn more about you and your early background.
Sure. I'm from Panama. I'm a lawyer by trade. Never really practiced, only like business corporate, and worked in finance for a long time in my life. Asset management, wealth protection. And I always saw there were like super amazing tools for high net worth individuals. And I always wonder like, why can't normal people just access to this stuff, So I started in wealth management and real estate in Panama. I was 19. And I was always thought I don't come from a high net worth family, and I'm like, why can't people access this? And I always saw like the financial stuff, and everything was like too complex. And I read this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's not that complex. It's very simple, but it's just put in complex words.
Yeah,
and
or like paragraphs after paragraphs. It's like too long.
Yeah, something too long. Like it doesn't make sense. But then it does make sense because it's like the game is played. So you have some barriers so people don't. So I've been like trying to give access to people like to resources since like my 20s. And then I launched and managed a physical gold fund out of Luxembourg. Then we moved to Cayman. So I had experience structuring companies in different parts of the world and structuring investment funds, and went like doing like cold calling, sales pitches all across Latin America and Europe. So starting from scratch, those things. And I always try to see like, how can we help like the normal mom and dad? And it was always like a barrier. It was always like a problem. Compliance was too expensive. So I on the side always wanted like to build things. I always like making stuff up or selling. I really like I like money. So I like the exchange of getting money for something. And always tried like different ventures on the online space. I tried to see what had as like a side gig.
Yeah.
And then I just focused. It was over 11 years that I spent on the physical gold fund. And I thought that was like it. That was a company that we were really going to grow, exit, and make a lot of money. So I had all my
Hmm.
plans on how I was going to spend the money. Like, obviously, it didn't
You're
work like
sleeping and dreaming and
I knew
spending.
all cent. I knew everything I was going to buy. But that didn't work out as things happened with partners, with the strategy. I learned a lot about pivoting. I learned about a lot about who do you relate to, who do you partner up with. And then I came to a point where I was married back then. I was living in Panama and I had to close the fund. It wasn't sustainable. I closed the fund and I had no money. I had a few savings. I had household to provide and I had to figure things out. So I started mostly like doing education. I was writing like the first in Spanish books on metaverse, on blockchain, crypto, and just like teaching about those things. And but people really care about how do I make quick money. Like they didn't care about understanding this stuff. They care. Tell me the coin. That's what people want.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, this is not for me. And I was
And
just like,
this was what year?
this was 2020, 2021.
Got it. Yeah, that was like a
And
booming time too, because people at home, so they're like trading all the time.
they were trading. So, and actually that helped me like cover like months expenses. I even did like crypto arbitrage, which gave me money like runway for a couple of months. And then it was to a point like everything collapsed. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like where am I? What do I do? And out of nowhere, like I took like this social media course. I'm like, I want to learn about this more. What's going on now? Because I've been disconnected. And I saw that I had issues to pay. Like I couldn't pay very seamlessly. And I'm like, but why? If this platform is very automatic, like why is this so manual? And then I saw, okay, but if they did this, if they did the setup, they could connect this, and it's like very easy. And I was in my couch, and I'm like, is this like something? Like I don't know. Like it might be an idea. I have no idea. So I started, okay, let me ask them. I'll do like free consultations and ask people like what their problems are. And ask them like, hey, like, why can't I pay? What's going on? And they were telling me like, it's very manual, like payment gateways get clogged, like it's too complicated. And I'm like, oh, maybe there's something, but I had no idea. So I needed money, so I needed to act fast. And what I did
Yeah.
was like, okay, the cheapest thing I can do is just get my phone and get like TikTok, because TikTok, I'm like, I think I can get like virality faster there than on Instagram.
For sure.
So then I started to do like free, like daily TikToks, but like crap, like outfit of the day, like things
Yeah.
like that. Like
Yeah.
I did
You're
like,
trying to be an influencer.
yeah, I was trying to like something like to put a lot of content. That was like my strategy. And every day I went to the lobby in my apartment in Panama. Okay, what do I do now? And I started like offering, okay, free calls, and whoever wants to speak to me, I'll speak because I need money. I was
But
highly pressured.
what were you talking to them about? What were you, they were just coming to you as a general consultant?
So I was talking about how, like, since I had experience structuring companies, and I know that structuring companies in the US were beneficial, like
Yeah.
tax wise, because you don't pay taxes if you don't live in the US or have any presence in the US. I'm like Panama was one of the top countries for making companies and banking in the world for a lot of years. Like it was
Hmm.
one of like the best like tax havens to restructure your operations. It was like a massive business. And being a lawyer, like I saw like the law firms how they grew and they made like a lot of money. And then that business moved, and that business moved to the US. So I'm like, okay, why aren't people talking about this? Like, why the normal person can really benefit this, because it's not expensive to do the setup. It's not like thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like for less than $500, you can really have a proper setup.
Yeah.
So I started speaking about that. I started speaking about like why Latin America, like each country sucks in a way that they do not help entrepreneurship. Like they kind of are too bureaucratic, too corrupt. So
Mm.
they don't want you to do well. So I started speaking towards those things, like why the payment gateways suck, why do
Hmm.
banks froze your accounts, like why are we giving our money to the politicians and they're just like making themselves wealthier and the countries are crap. So I started like speaking about those things, and I said, you know what, like in today's world, you don't have to play by your government's rules. You have a digital world, we can move around. Like so I started speaking about those things. And but I didn't know. It spent like over 3 weeks and no one came. I had no idea. Like I
Yeah.
was just speaking to the void. But I always said, you know what, like one video might hit. I don't know which one, but if I stop now, I'll never know. So I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
And all my focus was like just doing content and posting it. I didn't edit. I like no edits, no nothing, like nothing fancy. It was just like Nothing fancy
Just
at
whatever
all.
come to your mind, you just say it and then you post
Yeah, I speak a lot of crap, so it's just I just like
it.
rolling it out, and then people started to resonate. And I remember like the first guy, he's from Peru, and we had a chat, and he gave me $899 for the solution. And then I'm like, oh, okay, he's paying me now. I have to deliver. I figured out how to give him the solution, and I'm like, if one guy's paying, there must be like two or three. So I started doing that. So that's why I invested like $51, which was like CAD and D, like a domain. I did my own website on Wix, a landing page. And I did paid Zoom because I was embarrassed that it would gonna cut me off like after 40 minutes. Like I have to be
Mhm.
professional. I at least need to be like an hour long. So it was like that investment. I'm like, I'm gonna try it out. And yeah, 3 weeks in, I got money, but it wasn't like enough. I still was pressured. I moved to Spain then. I had invested small capital in this restaurant that a friend invited me to. And I'm like, okay, I can
Yeah.
go there and help it grow. I lived in Madrid, helped the restaurant. So I was working two jobs there during the day. And then I was working in my company because Latin America was waking up in my night there. So I was
Mhm.
working in there, the two jobs. And then my third job, the company, by nights over there. And that's all I did all day trying to make some money. So it was highly stressful. And I know that because I journaled a lot of my experiences there. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that was like really sucky. But I like what I was doing. I like who we were helping. And also being in Spain, what happened was like my client number two, he's from Argentina. He was 25 then. And he asked me like, could we meet? Because I will be in Madrid for a day. And then we went for like early morning to the hotel lobby. And he said to me like, hey man, no, I wanted to thank you because thanks to you setting up my company, like by having my company in the US, my reputation looks better in my country and I was able to get more clients. And I'm doing like my first Euro trip thanks to the proceeds I made of my business.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
And what business was this?
he was doing financial advisory. So
Got it.
consultancy for also for not high net worth, like for normal people. And he was able to advising on a couple hundred thousands of dollars just because he had a US bank account and he had a proper setup. And then he was like, this really has helped me. And that's when I clicked to me like, yeah, we're like doing more than just like a setup. We're like enabling people like to do their dreams and helping them to really set up the platform for them to do better. So I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is cool because we are like giving access to people to tools that they didn't know were possible. And I wanted to do this for over 15 years. So like maybe this is something more than just selling this to make money. And then my mind started shifting. Okay, how can I like really help? Because they are really trusting me with something valuable for them. So how do we honor that and really make the
Mhm.
best at it? And that's where like I started to put more effort into it and to really try to do our best. It was just me and my mom because I offered like could I pay you a commission for helping me
Yeah.
on the admin side? So I gave her like a couple dollars for every
Yeah.
client she helped me with. And
What
it was
what
just
was she doing?
she was helping with all like I used to do everything. I used to do the companies. I used to call the IRS for the tax IDs. And I was like 2 hours on the phone and then the call dropped. So I had to call again.
Oh, it's the worst.
I had to like the bank accounts. I had to do everything. I started with Mercury. I had like to find a way for them to want to work with me. And then my mom, she has experience with compliance. She was at compliance of Swiss banks. She's very good with the whole organization thing, which I
Mm.
suck at. So I'm like, can you please, I'll sell. Can you please take care of what happens after that? And I'll pay you for every client. So then we started like that dynamic. And she went to visit Madrid and spend New Year. And we met up. It's okay, let's split task and let's see how we do it. And having her help me on like having more orders so I could just be more confident in doing my work. And then I don't know, man. If you ask me like how are you where you are, I have no idea. It's like day by
Yeah.
day, like I have no idea. I remember the days when I wish I had five clients. I wish like someone buy. Like I have no idea. But I guess it's one of those things where you don't notice like the growth, but it compounds. But like day by day, it gets to a moment where like, oh, you start seeing the results. And it took me a while. Like I started July 1st. Officially, the company I launched August 1st. And then until May is that I started to really see, oh, this is
Th-
growing.
This is 2023.
Yeah, I started August 2023. And then no, I don't remember the days. I started August 2022. Yes.
Got it. Going back to it, you were basically doing this. You posted stuff on TikTok. People start reaching out to you, especially that like entrepreneur in Peru. They were basically saying, "Hey, can you set up a business entity in the US?" That business entity, having it either local versus US, actually increased the trust level for those founders when they're going out and getting customers. And that's what you saw was like a huge benefit for them. And then you were doing this manually with your mom helping you. When did Maera become what it like a legit company with people working for it? What was that
Uh,
pathway towards? Because
it,
you could have done this like consulting stuff or helping people out, but then you made a conscious decision to.
I I would say like by a year later. Like it
Mhm.
was me and my mom for the first. Like I started alone. She joined like 4 or 5 months in, and then we were the two of us until a year later.
Yeah.
But the thing is that customers were coming in. Like when I was in Madrid, I got my email saying that my green card has been approved. And when I got that, I'm like, okay, goodbye, Madrid. No, because I didn't know if they were going to approve it. Now this is approved. I'm like, okay, I have to go back to Panama because my
Yeah.
appointment in the embassy is going to be in Panama.
Yeah.
So it was crazy to think because I sold everything. I canceled my lease. I moved continents to Spain, and 7 months back later, I was moving continents again to Panama, and I was staying at my mom's house because I thought the visa was gonna be fast, but it took me like 5 months. So I stayed there, went back there. The company started making more money. I think that the moment when I knew I was going back, that I quit the other jobs I was doing, and it was like, okay, it's only this. And I moved back to Panama March. Then April, it's only this. So I
Mhm.
started like putting it's like this is it. I'm going to New York. I can't pay anything. I can't pay New York life, but I don't want to live in my mom's apartment, and I don't want to rent apartment in Panama because I don't want to stay in Panama. So
Mhm.
it's like New York is the goal. I just have to do this. And I just started do this and just like content and making sales. I was doing everything through WhatsApp. Okay, like I just need this to happen. I have no idea how. In May, I go to Mexico. I was like, I needed like an out. So I went to Tulum for a couple of days. And in Mexico, like that's when the company changed names. When I was thinking like I need to change to something more brandable, and I changed it to Numa.
Mhm.
So when I changed to Numa, I was like, okay, then I did the whole thing, the whole work. And May was like, okay, we are like this new brand. Now we're pushing. My appointment in the embassy was July 24. So I got the stamp there. And by August 30, I was traveling to New York. I got here August 31, 2023. And by then, the company was making enough money for me to be able to live here. So it
Nice.
was that lapse between April to August where it was like a boom trend.
Yeah.
And then I got help. When I got to New York, I hired someone like part-time VA that I had worked with her before. She was living in Spain. So I hired her to help me and assist me on some stuff. And it was like my mom, her, and me like now like working on the company.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's because you help a lot of different global companies, global entrepreneurs create their LLCs, the US LLCs. First, I'm curious, why do you choose to elect only helping with LLCs and not other like company entities?
Because I didn't know what to do. Like it was that was like what I knew. And first I only sold Delaware, and I told everyone
Yeah.
like Delaware is the thing because I didn't know how to do anything else. So I just
Yeah.
knew how to do Delaware. Then when I learned the other ones, I'm like, no, you know what? It's not that good. There's are others.
Yeah.
The corporations, they would be a little bit trickier, and that's more like for people raising money. And I never wanted. You have to realize that the word like founder, like I never used that word in my life before. Like nothing. Like this is not. I was not in the radar of raising funds. It does not happen in Panama. Now it has changed a bit, but no one gives you money. The bank doesn't give you money. People don't
Mhm.
invest in your company. That does not exist. So for me, it wasn't in my radar. I have to make this happen, yes or yes, because no one will save me. And I always thought, oh, but there are like a lot of digital entrepreneurs that they want to sell courses, they want to do their SaaS thing. But I wasn't in the world of raising funds. So I'm like, LLCs actually give you a tax break that corporations don't. So I'm going to go on the angle of the tax benefit, of the access to banking, to payment gateways, and the reputation. Because if I go on the corporation route, then I'm going to have to learn more about what, like, the legal documents are different, the issuance of shares. If you have then to deal with investors, like there were like a lot of complexities that I couldn't really handle. And if you, like the nonprofits, like I had to learn about that, and I didn't have the bandwidth to do it. So I'm like, I have to dominate this first and go deep into this because I'm still learning, but at the same time, my main clientele would benefit more on LLC. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna stick to this and show them this. And what was interesting is that due to the content, not only the direct customers were coming, but resellers were coming. People were saying like, hey, can we buy from you and we resell the product? Because we were actually very fast. We were actually like very, for a small team of like me and my mom, like when I was in Spain, one of my competitors here in the US, they became our client. They outsourced the work for us because we were very fast. And then they wanted to hire me as an employee. And we never panned out, but we had this partnership for a while because we were very fast and they didn't understand why we were so fast. But we were like, hey, we figured out like our system. So I was just trying to do that thing. I didn't have the bandwidth like to go into more stuff.
Got it. Let's talk about LLCs. Like, what is the 1, 2, 3 benefits of why a global entrepreneur should be opening up a US LLC?
So number one, it gives you access to the US financial system without having even to have a visa to be here. With an LLC, you can open a US bank account, you can have access to a payment gateway like Stripe, for example, and you're connected to the world. You can sell to the world from your house. So that's like first access. Number two, the tax benefits that you get. If you don't live here or have any employees or physical presence, everything you make through your LLC is tax free. But you don't pay taxes. And in most countries where like your taxation can be 40, 45, Spain can be like 51, 53%, saving money in taxes does really impact your company. A lot of people don't think of the taxes because you have to pay them like at the end of the year. But if you, like I have customers that used to pay 2-3K a month in taxes, now they pay zero. That's a huge difference of money for them and to reinvest in the company. So tax is another thing. And the third one, I would say, is also the reputation it gives you. It's not the same thing. If you go home saying, I have a company in the US, like people, it's like you're like the Messiah. People are like, you're walking on water. I went to visit people like, hey, I have a company in Panama or in Panama, I was like you are like laundering money for sure. People have these preconceptions of places. I met this guy that said, I have a crypto license in Bulgaria. I'm like, that doesn't mean shit, man. Like my New York license is better than your crypto license in Bulgaria. You have to play the game and you have to know that people will judge based on like parameters and patterns that they have. So having it in the US, actually, you say, hey, I have my company in the US, my bank account in the US, that changes because the US has discovered now that there's talent outside of the US. And in order to hire those people, it's easier for them to deal through a US company. It makes life easier. So it has become like a bridge of what I call like the new American dream is not moving here. It's living where you live, but making money here. Okay. So the LLC is like this bridge that allows you to have access to all the resources and benefits in the US without having to be here. I could not have built my company. First, I started as an LLC, but I couldn't have built what I built if it wasn't an LLC. I couldn't have access to proper banking, financial systems, to payment, to really automated processes if it wasn't through an LLC. So like, I know that it's 3 letters that are so powerful in today's world because it really opens like an entire ecosystem without you having to move from your bedroom.
Yeah. The American dream is making money here in America through the LLC or like through the systems where the legality allows it to. Who are the customers that are using Maera? Basically, are there everything from, you mentioned a little bit earlier about coaches or consultants or people doing courses, but Is that the majority? Is that the minority? What's the breakdown?
The majority are like marketing agencies and like service-based
Got it.
industries, like consultants.
Yeah.
The things that they do, like services that they can manage from everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of content creators and people that want to sell online courses through like Shopify, Kajabi, and those platforms, Hotmart. We also got a chunk of people that want to sell on Amazon and do drop shipping or open their Amazon stores like that.
Yeah.
We have that. And then the rest are like SaaS softwares, advisors, psychologists, like people, yeah, like freelancer stuff. We have a small chunk of people buying properties in the US,
Yeah.
and then another chunk of people just restructuring the businesses they already have, but using LLCs to reduce taxation in their home countries.
Got it.
But the overall people, what they're looking for is like a proper US bank account where I can park my money and just make money, charge with ease, but have a plan B, because in like Latin America, Spain, and now Africa, like it's very uncertain. So you don't know what will happen to the currency or what will happen to the bank account you have. So people are like thinking of those plan B and wanting to have a just in case something happens, like my business doesn't get affected. But I would say like our majority would be like the small entrepreneur that has its own business, that wants to scale it up, or is working in a 9 to 5, that wants to make like another company. It's like, hey, I want to test out this online thing.
Mhm.
Then use their skill sets to make money.
Yeah. I want to ask about the e-com, like Amazon drop shipping or even e-commerce D2C brands, because there are companies that, so I understand, let's say the service-based businesses, they can do it, start out, reach out. The more physical product, maybe you're a brand that starts in like Latin America or Asia, and you're already having customers here, you ship it. Why should they have an LLC if they're already doing business, global business?
What we've seen is that, first of all, the sending stuff from outside the US to the US is very expensive. So there's like, sometimes it's more expensive, the shipping, than the same product.
Oh my gosh.
So what people do is if they're setting the LLC and opening shop here, they can use like the 3PL providers and have like warehouses where they can send like a stock of product, and then it'll be shipped from the US. Or
Mm-hmm.
when they sell, Amazon really opens them up to like a larger scale market. So instead of like being in, I don't know, Colombia and selling from Colombia to the
Mm-hmm.
world, it's very expensive to ship. But if I ship everything to Amazon in the US, then I do
Mm-hmm.
one shipment and Amazon just spreads it around. Most people outside of the US have a PO box or something in the US that then that service brings the objects to their country.
Got it.
So instead of like you trying to figure out the logistics, you go to the companies that are already doing those logistics where people are already buying. Because if I go to Amazon, say from Panama, and I buy a lot of things, I give them like my Miami PO box where they're going to send it, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're going to bring it to my house. I'm used to doing that. If I'm selling from Panama to other places, and I said, because I did that, I had this, I sold like earrings and like fashion things for a while in Panama and,
Yeah.
and handbags, and we had to ship them. And it's like me going to the shipping agency, like the product was 20, the shipping was 60. And then the person, do I really want to buy this? Do I like it that much? But if I had shipped everything to Amazon and from there I sell, people are already used to that. So
Mm-hmm.
they don't feel it. They are already shopping for other stuff.
Got
So
it.
you just make it easier for them to buy and to import, because also when you're exporting to other countries, there could be like problems in customs. You have to pay extra stuff. You have to do a lot of paperwork, versus if you go directly to the companies that are already taking care of it, then you make it seamless for the buyer. And I think that if you want to sell, you have to make it very easy for the person to buy. Because if you complicate it a bit, the person's going to be like, you know what, it's not worth it, and you lost the sale. So
Mm-hmm.
by leveraging on these tools and the experience that the US providers already have, you like reduce some barriers and make them for them easier to buy your product.
Content and getting customers, because you started out getting customers with content, right? And now if you look at the Maera social media, it's all content. I love the one where you had with the Gen Z writing the script. That
Yeah.
cracked me up so much. First, how many takes do you have to take to get that
Uh,
content out?
uh, like I usually don't plan my content. I usually like just speak, and when I speak to the camera, I just mostly do that one take. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I just speak. That one was very funny to record because that one, obviously, I had help with the CGO here. We were recording, and she was like reading me the script, and that took a while because like when she said something, like I just laughed, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so I had to laugh for a while, and I laughed a lot recording it because who says this? Who speaks like this? Obviously, I'm not a Gen Z. That one took us maybe 7 to 8 minutes to record.
Yeah. That's
And yeah, I don't know. That wasn't my plan. Like I didn't do that though. That was yeah, but that one was pretty funny. But usually we record like we every Tuesday from 1:30 to 4:30. It's blocked for content.
nice.
But last
And
week it took us maybe like an hour to record them. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes not so long, but I would say we're getting faster at it.
so in a session, you get maybe 4 or 5 videos or even more.
More. Sometimes we do 16 videos when we were doing like in English and Spanish, but
No.
now I'm like trying out the AI dubbing into English
Yeah.
because one, I'm sure my pronunciation and accent is gonna sound better with AI than mine, and two, it is tricky sometimes for me to switch languages.
Yeah.
Like recording one, then I have to change to the other one. And obviously, Spanish is my native language, and I've been doing content like almost every day for over 3 years. So I am more fluent in that. But in English, it's a little bit more challenging to just flow. So I'm seeing how do we leverage on AI just to make it easier for us to deal with it. Just
So
edit once.
there were a lot of decisions made and to get customers to get your name, Maera's name out. Why did you choose content?
I had no money to do anything else.
Yeah.
It was like
It was free, so
I
you're
had the
like,
phone, I had internet, I had TikTok. We tried ads this year with an ad agency, which I am not so that happy that I did, but like
hmm,
we had to try. I don't know. I feel like content is what like work, like trying to get people's attention. Like we had access to the platforms there, and you feel that no one listens. You feel like you're speaking like to an empty void, but there are people that will resonate with it, and there are people that will listen to it, and that's what's crazy that you put something out there, and someone from Japan saw your content, and you're okay. How does this
how?
happen?
Yeah.
And I feel that it just opens you up to the world, and you have to find your style. It was like you see me on videos, not the Gen Z one because I do not speak like that. But if you see like all of the
May-
other videos,
Maybe not today, but maybe
not
down the line.
today. But if you see me then like on the street, it's gonna be like the same person. It's gonna be like so. We tried to do like how do we do it real? How do we just share? How do we add value? And I feel that content still, even though people speak about it, there's a very small percentage of people that do content, and of those who do content, it's very not all of them are just like consistent on it. Like you really your first like 100 200 videos are going to be really bad. They are not going to be nice, but you have to do it, and people are going to hate, people are going to put mean comments and those things, but there are people that will benefit from it, and you just have to know that hey, if I have a message and I feel that this is of value to people, it's also like my responsibility to share that, because others might not know this, but they are waiting for someone to for me like me to say it, because I also consume like content that has helped me. So it's like I know that there will be someone out there. People that gave us money for things that they saw online. So I'm like, okay, like I like the idea of with content, people also are like warm to you, and it's not like you approach someone from zero to sell, but they if they come to us, they've already watched a couple of videos, so they
Yeah.
feel like you know you kind of like that vibe. So when you have a
And
conversation, they already like they're not like so shut or closed. Oh, you want to sell me this? So they come
yeah.
with more open arms.
Yeah, that's a great point. So now you've created so many different content over the course of last couple of years. What are some of the things that like entrepreneurs who are listening to the show can learn and be like, oh, that works, that didn't work? Like, what have you observed?
You have to tell people what to do. If you want to sell something, you have to tell them like, go buy it here. You can't assume that people will know what to do.
Yeah.
If you want them to click like the link on bio, you have to tell them there is a link in my bio that's going to do this, and you have to go and click it. Like you have to
You see
do
a
like,
stark difference?
yes, you can't assume. Like you have to tell them, you have to tell specifically because like people will see your video and they will do see 1,000 more stuff. But you have to tell them what to do. So that's one thing. The other thing is that you have to like they do say the hook really matters. How do you start it? It really matters. And what resonates the most is using some kind of FOMO or fear base at the beginning,
Yeah.
because the lizard brain gets activated and it stops and gets to watch a little bit more, and then you go through like the content. We've noticed that the videos that are under 90 seconds tend to resonate a little bit more than if they go on the longer side. People like the inspiration and motivational thing. That they like to feel like, hey, like I can do this, or I saw this guy when he started and now he's here, I can do it too. So they like to identify with that.
Yeah. So did your inspirational one work? The one where it was like, I would never have known I've come like me 2 years ago would not see me being here or something like that. I
People
forget
like
what the
it,
video was.
but I feel that the videos that do the most is me talking to the camera and just like
Yeah.
making the sale, telling like
Got
why
it.
is this a benefit, and just selling this. We try a lot. We're trying like a lot of things, but we realize now that I did have this thing on my head, like my videos were too boring when I was just doing like talking to the phone. So I like we need to spice it up because who wants to watch this? But those were the videos that were converting the most.
Yeah.
So sometimes you start getting creative and like fancy, and then you're like, no, man, go back to what was working. Like people don't want like the transitions; they want like this. And also, I feel like you have to treat people like they're not stupid. Like you have to try to sit them. I try to talk to the camera like I'm talking to a friend, telling them like, hey, you should know about this.
Right.
And don't act upon, oh, I know better than you, or you're dumb. It's no, man, hey, I discovered this. Like it might help you. Like buy it or share it. And I think that when you come from that angle, people do feel like, oh, like he's not trying to sell. He's honestly sharing something. Obviously, he's making money for the transaction. But I feel like people like they like if you make people feel smart, that they learn something useful and that they can make money out of it and they can really benefit them, that they will exchange their money. Because actually what they're doing is the money they made using their time that they'll never give back, they're giving it to you because they're feeling that they're getting more from you than the value of the money that they have with them. So it's like, how do you really honor that? Because they are giving me money that they could be giving to their families or could be doing a travel or do whatever. So it's just remember that for us, it's not hard, it's challenging to grow and make money, but it's the same thing for them as well. So I just also think, hey, where we were, a lot of our customers are there now. So how do we help them and show them like, hey, we could do it without a lot of fancy gadgets. Like you could do it too. And we just do that and try to have fun and try just to enjoy and just make it funny and just try to make it a little bit more chill and not so serious.
Last couple questions. Did you raise money with Maera?
No,
What was the
we
decision to not raise and bootstrap?
so first of all, I didn't know about racing, so it was just like this is it. So that was
This whole interview is I didn't know
I
that
didn't
that was
know.
an option. So
Yeah, so I didn't know. But then, like last year, we were trying to an angle, and I had someone that joined her as co-founder. She's no longer in the company, but she's still part of advisor. And we went like to try it and race. I would say I never put it 100% in because it was very distracting. I always felt like, yeah, I don't want to like having investors calling me like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, no, I don't work well for others. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, what would I use the money for? Like, I'm sure I would spend a lot of money. And then I was meeting a lot of founders and they were speaking about racing, but they had like zero customers. They had zero anything. And I'm like, we already have customers. Like, and then a friend of here, last time I was thinking like, should I raise because we needed money? And he's like, man, like you actually don't need to raise. Just go and sell more to your customers. Ask what they need and just sell more to that. Like you can outsell yourself out of your current financial challenges. And then I'm like, yeah, like right now, I am not close to the idea of racing. I am very open to that, but I will push it for as long as I can, because I still feel there's stuff I want to do and that we can do, getting like investors money, because that also is a responsibility. Like you have to deliver, and I feel that having that responsibility right now would derail us from the core focus. And I still have time, energy, and like the desire to do more things that we don't need a lot of money for.
Last question. What are you optimistic about, Nestor?
About everything. I'm optimistic about life. I'm optimistic about like entrepreneurship, about like the amazing ideas people are coming. Now that I speak Gen Z, I can relate to the Gen Zs. But I'm optimistic about this country, about the growth it's having in general, about people wanting to do better. And there's obviously challenges in every country. But when you speak to people, they're like, they have so many ideas, so many things. Some of them work, some of them won't. But I'm optimistic about like the human being per se, and like I believe in the kindness of people. That whatever challenges you're going through, there's always going to be someone that can help you out, and people are willing to lend a hand. So I feel that overall, like we're just humans experiencing life, and life is challenging for all of us in different ways. But when we just leave that aside and leave that competition, ego, and those things on the end, it's like, hey, we're all going through this together. And I feel that being like meeting a lot of entrepreneurs and also my clients, like the challenges are the same, different stories, but same challenges. And it's just about, hey, how do we make it easier for every one of us here? And I do feel like that kindness and that connection continues to grow and expand. And that in the end, like that kindness wins, and that people do resonate with that. And then in the end, we all just want to be happy. And it gives me joy to see that when push comes to shove, like people do respond in a way, connect us with each other. And that gives me hope for the future.
Yeah. What you said about people have different stories, but the same challenges. That's exactly one of the reasons why I started this podcast is like, yeah, we're all early stage founders, especially looking at growing our companies. But our stories are so different. But there
Yeah.
are moments of similarities where people are like, oh, I can do XYZ because I heard Nestor say this in a podcast and I wanted to create those moments. So thank you for ending the episode with that, Nestor. If people want to reach out to you, even start US LLC, where do you want to direct them to?
They can go to maera.com and just there. And if they click for the WhatsApp, it's going to be me, the one speaking at the WhatsApp.
You're
So, but
still
no,
picking up.
yeah, no, yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, Maera.com works. And then they can find our socials there. And hopefully they get, if they don't buy, at least entertained for a couple of seconds with the stuff that we do, because now I'm being forced to do a lot of things that I said I would never do.
Yeah.
But it's part of the evolution. And no, and we can help out. And even if we don't become like a provider, and you just want to ask a question, ask it. I'll answer if we can. If not, we'll guide you to whoever can help. So what we want to do is like this also value ecosystem. If we can't help, maybe we know someone that can, and just
Yeah.
like pass it along, because people, we are where we are because people have helped us. So we just also want to be like that helping hand to anyone that's crossed paths with us.
Yeah. Incredible. Thank you so much for being on Forum Founders, Nestor.
Thank you, Andy.